So I think you almost have to split the market in half. You've got your kind of smaller businesses or daily users or bloggers who might use WordPress.com or a small version of WordPress.org. And then you've got the enterprise part of the market. I think the enterprise part of the market is definitely growing.
Welcome to Velocitize Talks. I'm Andy North. I'm joined today by Alex Price, founder of 93digital and 93x. Alex, thanks for being here.
It's good to be back. Thanks, Andy.
Tell us a little bit about 93digital and about 93x. You're one of our few returning guests, so we're quite delighted to have you here.
Honored to be back. So 93digital is the London WordPress agency. We are a design and build agency specializing in WordPress as a platform. Effectively deliver digital strategy, design, development, a lot of UX work as well, and lead projects through from start to finish in terms of website design and builds, often very strategic projects or bigger, more complex, technical, challenging projects. 93x is something that we launched last year, which is a team within 93digital and within the agency. One of the key verticals and sectors that we work with is the technology, software, SaaS sector. But on the B2B side mainly, so working with lots of clients that have quite long and lengthy considered sales journeys. They do a lot of content in their marketing, a lot of marketing automation and personalization, lots of integrations and all of that kind of thing. And so 93x is our team where we work just with our B2B tech clients effectively. So a lot of our clients have come into us through 93digital and we've delivered a great project for them that really sits at the heart of marketing. And then through 93x, we continue to work with them in terms of ongoing SEO, content, paid campaigns, but really tailored to their sector.
That's exciting. You're a WordPress veteran. You've been around WordPress for a long time. You've seen the evolution of it. Absolutely. Have you seen WordPress work its way up into the enterprise? And what excites you about WordPress right now?
When I started working with it, it was a simple blogging tool. I think even back then, the idea that it would become an enterprise CMS was not even on people's radar, I don't think. We're delivering projects as an agency right now where we're taking sites that are built on CMSs like Sitecore, Kentico, Episerver, massive enterprise, more traditionally enterprise CMSs where the client's probably paid tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds just for the license before they've even started doing any design or development work or any strategy work. And so the exciting thing there is that we're really empowering marketing teams with the flexibility that they need in a much more accessible way because WordPress is now capable of serving that enterprise end of the market in a lot of situations. There's still things that WordPress isn't perfect for in some environments that it might not be best suited to. But we can do bits of personalization, we can do multilingual, we can do flexible CMSs, we can do all of the things that come up as pain points really regularly for us from the marketing teams that we work with.
Are your clients now more savvy about WordPress and they've actually come to you and said, we know you're a WordPress expert, we really want to build on WordPress? Or are they more, doesn't matter what CMS, they just want the right results?
I think a really interesting trend for me is seeing how many marketing people who have, I think the evolution of the marketing role as they kind of progress in seniority now is fascinating in that we're working with VPs of marketing, marketing directors, CMOs, people who are now senior in their role in the companies they're working in. But 5 to 10 years ago, they were a kind of much more junior marketing exec, digital marketing manager. And their day-to-day, they were inside CMSs. So they were maybe using WordPress in their small company that they had their first marketing job in 5-8 years ago. Right. And they like it and it does what they need. And they just take it with them as they grow and kind of evolve personally. They kind of become like an internal champion of WordPress as a product. So I think that's the exciting thing for me is if you look at the role of a CMO or a senior marketing person 10 years ago, there was no way that they were going to be, well, maybe 10 years, maybe 15, there was no way they were going to be inside a Google Analytics account or running some pay-per-click ads, or they weren't hands-on with digital marketing channels necessarily.
Keeping in the technology vein, obviously there's been a lot of new technologies that have come online, such as machine learning, AI, and so forth. Are there any that you're particularly excited about and or using with some of your clients?
The ecosystem is is huge now, as you pointed out. Like there's so many startups, particularly in the marketing tech space, who are producing tools and platforms that promise all kinds of results through the use of machine learning, AI, all of those kind of approaches. I think we've used interesting tools that allow us, for example, to improve content recommendations. So traditionally, if you scroll to the bottom of a piece of content on a WordPress site and it says, here's 3 related posts you might also be interested in. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, that algorithm was very simple. It basically said, show me posts from the same category and show me them in chronological order. So you see 3 posts that are related in category to that post. But aside from that, they're really just guessing that you're interested in those 3 posts. There's an AI tool called Biblio that we've been integrating into websites that we work on, where they effectively consume all of the content of a site. So you might have 10,000 blog posts. It will consume all of those posts using natural language processing. It will actually find the key themes and topics within that piece of content. And it will then make recommendations on what you might be interested in reading next, based on a almost human level of understanding of what the content is about.
WordPress is now roughly 34% of the web, and you've obviously seen it grow from a much smaller percentage. Do you see it continuing to grow, or is it starting to sort of bump into the ceiling there and enough people have begun to use it that we're good with it as it is, or do you see it continuing to expand given that it's open source?
It's a good question. I think inevitably there's always going to be some kind of upper limit and ceiling that's hit. I think a lot of it's dependent on how it continues to evolve and meet the needs of users. Obviously, Gutenberg this year, or end of last year, this year has been a big addition to the WordPress ecosystem, the infrastructure ecosystem behind it. And again, companies like WP Engine doing the hosting infrastructure side in that more enterprise space. There's a more commercial edge to the WordPress world that continues to grow and that I think we haven't seen before. So I think you almost have to split the market in half. You've got your kind of smaller businesses or daily users or bloggers who might use WordPress.com or a small version of WordPress.org. And then you've got the enterprise part of the market. I think the enterprise part of the market is definitely growing. The smaller part of the market is not one that we're that active in. But I suspect that it continues to grow as well.
Personalization seems to be the holy grail of marketers right now. Are we there yet? Have we cracked that nut yet from a marketing standpoint, or are you seeing any of your clients coming to you saying we really want personalization?
So I don't think we've cracked it by any means. I think we're still a long way away. I don't think I've come across any organization or client or anything else that's really could ever say like they're truly there. And I think the fact that it's driven by data and is there to be constantly optimized means that in itself it's probably something that you can never actually kind of just say we've done it and the line is drawn. I think it's important to kind of define what it is almost, because there's some very basic examples of personalization where you can install a piece of software on your website and it will display a personalized message if someone comes back to your site for a second time or something, kind of saying like, welcome back. That's a very simple use case that isn't technically that difficult to implement. So I think personalization is really about having strong foundations, and there's so much that needs to be in place before you can say that you're ready to do it at any kind of scale. Right. It relies on good data, it relies on the correct tools and technology, it relies on CRM, it relies on people and processes as much as it relies on technology. So I think there's a long way to go before anyone can say we're truly there with personalization. But I know everybody's kind of heading that way.
With the rise of content marketing, there is so much content out there now, and of course the personalization concept would say that you personalize the content for each viewer. What is some of the more innovative content that you've seen with some of your clients that really has resonated?
Particularly for our clients, being able to use much more data-driven content is really interesting. So basically leading content marketing strategies with large pieces of research or data that we can then turn into all kinds of different assets to be used across content marketing. So we could build a one-page microsite that has loads of digital infographics that you can like roll over and explore the data. We could then turn that into a white paper that can be a piece of gated content on a website. We've probably got 20 blog posts off the back of it. We've got loads of statistics that we can create for social media. And so by really investing more in data and research, and really, I guess, just generating interesting insights that you can feed into your content, that not only position you as the thought leader at the center of your industry, but allow you to create content that resonates with people and is interesting and actually achieves a level of engagement that your top 10 things to do in this location blog post is probably not going to do anymore, or it's not going to stand out.
Do you think that authentic storytelling is still possible in this age with such short, limited attention spans?
I'm a massive believer in the power of storytelling. Like, I think it's particularly for as a very kind of B2B marketer that likes performance and likes numbers and likes to have business cases that proves ROI. I really do try and level that out with the fact that I believe there is an emotional side to marketing that comes through the power of storytelling that a lot of B2B businesses miss out on, in my opinion. I think it's too easy to just get strapped to your seat and distracted by short-term data-driven goals. How did this campaign perform in the last 30 days? How many, what was our cost per click on LinkedIn for this campaign? All of those things. But what's your how can you measure the power of your brand in 5 years, not 5 months? And what's your net promoter score in 3 years from working with someone versus 2 months' time? So I think it's difficult. I think I sympathize with a lot of marketers now because they're in environments where they have to go back to their business and report on their success and put forward ideas of things that they want to do. And I think there's this balance between like brand marketing and performance marketing that's really hard to find.
It's fascinating. Are there any technology challenges or issues or marketing concerns that keep you awake at night right now?
I think even I struggle to figure out sometimes how I've been retargeted by a certain business or product on a Facebook or Instagram or something after I search for it on a laptop on a different device that's got no connection. Like those kind of links, and you hear stories of people going, oh, we were talking about dog food next to our Alexa, and 2 days later they've got a dog food ad on their computer, right? And like there's all these stories that we hear, and actually there's no transparency about really, and I know a lot of the big tech companies are trying to at least make it look as though they're working on this, but even for people deeply in the industry, it can be hard to connect the dots as to how these things will work. And so imagine just for the average person that's not working around these things.
Do you see brands leading more with their values and purpose now, or are they still sort of staying on the sidelines there?
I think so. I think it relates to the kind of storytelling point that I think we're in a world now where whether it's trying to attract talent to work for you, whether it's trying to sell more, whether it's trying to have a mission statement that resonates, whatever it is, I think you have to lead with that now to achieve all of those things. And I think actually, digital marketing and marketing is changing so fast, but those kind of things are like the pillars and the foundations of marketing. If you read a brand or marketing book from 50 years ago, long before anything to do with digital marketing existed, those would be the things, right? And I think if you read that book now, a lot of that would still resonate and would still be true. For me, they're really like the foundational pillars of marketing and a brand.
Well, this has been fascinating. Is there a book, a blog, or a podcast that you'd like to recommend to our viewers that interests you?
So, favorite podcast at the moment is one called Masters of Scale. So it's by Reid Hoffman, who's the founder of LinkedIn. He's always just he's the founder of LinkedIn, so I think he has no problem attracting interesting guests. But yeah, that's a really interesting one. We actually run our own podcast too, so I was going to be cheeky and try and slide that in. But we run a podcast where we talk to marketing leaders in B2B tech software SaaS companies. So I guess it's not one that I listen to because I'm the one doing the interviewing, but worth recommending.
My guest today has been Alex Price, founder of 93digital and 93X. Alex, welcome back and thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Andy.